Hi, my name is Anna Bavcic. I'm EU Advocacy Officer at European Center for Press and Media Freedom. And I'm here on behalf of Media Freedom Rapid Response Consortium that ECPMF leads. The MFR consortium tracks, monitors, and reacts to violations of press and media freedom in EU member states and candidate countries. So today we want to discuss about the digital security of journalists, which is, since at least last decade, one of the biggest topics for media and journalists. Here today with me, there is Leonid Iuldashev, who is a communications and partnership lead for Eastern Europe at eQualitie. Leonid, we just had a workshop on digital repression of journalists in exile, and I wanted to ask you a few questions about journalists in general and what kind of pressures you have seen in your work. So in your opinion, and as a result of your experience, what is the biggest digital security threat that independent journalists face today?
Hello, and thank you for having me. I still think that it's the same list every time. I mean, it's almost the same for every country we work at, and it is phishing attacks, it is account hacking, it is sometimes device hacking, it is sometimes legislation problems, or let's say different laws about like that prohibit people to send information to independent media or work with independent media or even use the blockage circumvention tools to read independent media. That's also a problem for journalists, of course, because it's their sources, it's their readers, and their like audience, right? And spyware and malware is also a huge thing. And funny enough, I believe it's not only a source of problems, but also a source of our opportunity. Because if the problems are the same, then we can like develop a common toolkit, let's say, or like adjust it a little bit for different countries and make it available for journalists and help them uh, to create some countermeasures, let's say, right, from phishing protection to device protection and to sources protection. And it's interesting how in different countries with a different like governments and different blockage, like internet health, let's call it this way, the list of the threats are very similar.
It's yes, and unfortunately, it seems like the governments learn from each other how to repress journalists and human rights defenders. But I wanted to ask you, when journalists choose a certain communication tool, what should they pay attention to in order to truly stay safe? Could you share information about tools or platforms that you find promising and that you can recommend to journalists in general across the European, so wide European, so and maybe hopefully further?
Yeah, I think we should start from the level of encryption, which is like you may say that's quite a technical thing. And it is indeed quite a technical thing, but the only thing you need to remember is end-to-end encryption, E2EE, as they call it. So it means that only you and your confidant can actually read the content of the message. For every other people in the world, including the developer of the software, it will be encrypted. So that's would protect us from any possible attack from the government, from any possible attack from the software developer itself, and from any possible his or their decision to cooperate with governments. So it's Proton Mail that actually supported Delta Chat, if we speak about messengers, and Proton Mail, Delta Chat, Element, of course. And you may notice that some of these solutions are called self-hosted. which means that you will benefit the most if you will actually create a server of this messenger, let's say, inside of your organization. And if you are an organization, that's a good thing to do. But if you are an individual, you can still use the general server, let's say, that software developer provides, and it still will be much more protected than, for example, Telegram. The regular chat in Telegram is available for Telegram creators. Then, for example, Notion, right? Because our notes in Notion are as protected as Notion will not read them, will be good enough not to not read them, and a lot of other services that don't have end-to-end encryption. So it's the first thing. The second, of course, you can think about how difficult it is to start, right? And that's why a lot of journalists actually use a Signal. So it's just an application which you need to install, and this is it. And then you can start using it, and it has end-to-end encryption inside as well. But also, the Delta Chat is not that difficult to start. You also download the application, register, and starting using it. So Delta Chat is also a good tool. And then we can ask our source, I believe, to create an encrypted email account if he is or her tech savvy enough, or maybe send them the keys to this encrypted account created for them, and ask to send the data only through this encrypted account. I mean, Proton Mail, for example, which enables end-to-end encryption by default for every proton to proton communication. So that's the second thing to consider, and maybe this is it, actually, right? So how protected it is by the technical side of things, and how easy for the user to start using it.
Yeah, and as they say, like just having two-factor authentication can immensely help. And on that note, would you say that, for example, context, where the journalist is coming from, or we have been discussing this, and or like who they are as a journalist, or what kind of journalist they are, would make a difference in what kind of tools they would use, or that would be more or less the same?
As far as I understand, investigative journalists use more, let's say, encrypted and more secure tools because the data they are dealing with is way more sensitive than for a regular journalist, or let's say lifestyle journalist don't really bother about tools because their data is really pretty general in terms of sensitivity. So yeah, there would be a slight difference, but also it's important to consider from what country this journalists came because of their everyday habits. Like a lot of Russian journalists actually use Telegram as their main messenger, not because it's the best way or the worst way or something, just because they are used to it for last 10 years or so. And they use it as a main messenger for communication with their family and their sources and their colleagues and stuff. And that's probably not a good idea, actually, to put all eggs, yeah, in the same basket. But I understand also that if you work with Russian sources, they highly likely will also use Telegram because it's 70 millions of users they have in Russia. So if you do that, you can enable secret chat, which includes end-to-end encryption and it will protect you from the Telegram itself. Again, it's not about how good Pavel Durov is or how bad he is. It's only about the it helps us eliminate this problem at all. We don't need to trust or doubt the platform. If it's end-to-end encrypted, we are safe by design, and that's the biggest promise technology can afford, that it will work for us no matter what. And yeah, so you can enable secret chat, and for the first time, for example, for innocent person who don't do activist things, that can be a surprise. You're like, what's that? A secret chat? But as long as it's a well integrated part of Telegram platform, it won't be difficult for a user to respond in that chat. So it's also a good way of using it, and I believe there are more regional differences in usual platforms, yeah, platforms by default, and we also need to consider it when we giving an advice or making a policy. The best way for us, of course, to find a way through in the platforms people actually do use in the particular country or region, how to make it more secure, or maybe the most secure if it's possible, using the usual platform.
Yes, thank you. And you often say that we have a responsibility to be secured, and also you describe security as a process rather than something you achieve once. Could you explain this a little further?
Yeah, it's like you can't clean your teeth once and for all, right? For the whole life, you need to do it like every day, and a lot of things we actually do every day. And in this sense, maintaining digital security is kind of the same, and you don't need to actually spend a lot of time to maintain the level of your digital security if you use password manager and two-factor authentication and actually full disk encryption and what else? Maybe some of our viewers do use hardware keys for two-factor authentication. I do. I want to show it. It's called YubiKey, that's the manufacturer, and actually that's a small, like a flash drive, right? A USB flash drive with a zone to touch, and that's how you allow the service to use it as a source of two-factor authentication. When you have such a device and you plug it into your computer to open your Gmail, you feel yourself like James Bond because you are really like did something to protect yourself, and emotionally it pays back immediately, I would say. And actually love this thing because of this emotional component of being protected, and also it's a very good piece of tech. But yeah, so if you do it every day, and then it's just basically just like breathe. Yeah, you don't think about which password to use. You just open your password manager, press generate. It generates you the new password, and you just put it to a registration form. So it's as simple as that. And then you do it every day. And then you sometimes do backups, right? And then you sometimes think about the storage size, for example, and something like that. It's like clean your house every now and then, maybe once every 3 months or something like that, or maybe even once a year if you don't have a lot of data to back up. So that's how you do it. And in this, like you can't really protect yourself 100%, up to 100% in a day. Yeah, that's way easier to do step by step. And actually, what is the real problem? I believe one of big problems in this digital security field that pretty often people, I mean journalists or activists or even regular people who don't do such things but also don't want to be hacked, they think that digital security is something that either 100% good or 0%. So you can be very well protected or you are not protected at all. And then it's hard to start, right? Because the goal, the aim is very, very high. So no, you should do it actually step by step. It's way easier in any sense. And if you have one password on every website, and you use it just like again and again and every registration, you can just start with your social networks, for example, and change it there. Or you can start with your sensitive information like your bank credentials or your naked photos. Actually, that's the good way of explaining digital security because a lot of people have naked photos, and sometimes when hackers steal it, they blackmail people, and that's very uncool. You know, when you are like, I don't know, 18 and you have such photos on your phone, on your Instagram direct messages, and somebody hack your Instagram and then like send you an email that you need to send to this person like 2K of dollars to actually protect yourself. That's very very uncool, and that's not the experience somebody want uh, to have for themselves. So yeah, you can start with that, and then slowly, just like step by step, do it for yourself. But if you are a part of organization, then your system administrator or can help you. Or if you don't have system administrator, if it's a small organization, you can ask somebody who already moved a little bit ahead of you to help you do the same. We call such people digital champions. I don't know, I think that's a good name. Digital champions.
Yes, thanks. And unfortunately, exposing nudes is a tactic that is being used very frequently, even with adults and professionals. And yeah, it's a good argument to keep our accounts safe. Looking ahead, what changes do you think will be most important for keeping independent journalism safe online?
Actually, a lot of new, not new threats, but like new level, let's say, new level of threat development is now connected with, of course, with artificial intelligence. They trying to make better emails. They trying to make with artificial intelligence to actually do phishing attacks. They trying to make deepfake videos, and that works very well. That I would say I've read a few uh, papers on that, and people hardly can actually distinguish the deepfake of somebody they know. I don't mean like the president or like the pop star. Yeah, it's just like somebody you know from the real person, and it works pretty often. And also everything about sorry also everything about hacking, of course, password breach password based attacks, when they try to brute force you, try to use as many passwords as possible to see if one will work with your account, right? So now they have artificial intelligence and they have machine learning to make this process way more productive than before. And also, I see that during these spyware attacks, which are also very very effective, because they send the spyware application on your phone without letting you know. It happens automatically, and then you don't know that you have it. You just continue using your phone like in a regular way, but there is an application somewhere, the program somewhere inside that send your data every time to the hackers. So we created this honeypot, which is called the smartphone, by ourselves, right? Like we use smartphone every day for everything, and then of course somebody would think that it's a good idea to hack it, to hack this particular type of device, and that's what they do. And we really should diversify the channels we use. Like for example, with this end-to-end encryption, I think there is an old technology which is called PGP. Pretty good privacy. It's a way of encrypting emails. So you can do it in Proton Mail by default, but then on your Proton Mail client on the phone, all emails will be automatically decrypted. You will be able to read it, but also this spyware will be able to read it as well. So if you use PGP with just a regular email, which is also possible through, for example, browser extension, right? So in that case, you cannot install such a PGP extension on your mobile phone, and then PGP protected emails on your mobile phone will be encrypted. So you just don't use the decryption tool on your phone at all. So you see that you have an email, you see that somebody is waiting for your response, but you can do it only from your laptop intentionally, right? That's what I did as well. And I believe this way of compartmentalization, let's say, our communication channels is pretty important, and it's a new thread because now smartphones are e- everywhere. It wasn't like that 10 years ago, even 8 years ago, but now it is. And yeah, I think these are two big new things we are facing.
Yeah. And thanks for not just living on the issues, but also giving some solutions to them, so we can end on a more positive note.
No, I really think that it's not only our responsibility to protect ourselves, it's also our opportunity that we actually can do it. There are a lot of tools for digital security, a lot of guidelines. Somebody created a huge Excel spreadsheet with all the digital security guidelines. It's more than 150. So it's like, if you're interested in this topic, it's hard to actually not find them. They are everywhere in the internet if you will try to find it. So it's our opportunity. And then in this cat and mouse game, when they try to attack us and we try to protect ourselves, we can be a cat. We can be in active position, that if we're protected enough, we can make their life, I mean hackers' life, way more complicated. And that's, I believe, the source of hope for us. I mean, for independent media and non-governmental organizations.
Thank you so much, Leonid, for this insightful discussion and advice. If you'd like to follow more of similar discussions, please follow MFRR channels, including our social media accounts. Thank you again, Leonid, and thank you all for staying with us today.